Hello and welcome to my video demonstration of Lab 1, Python script to log into multiple devices. Now the instructions for this are we're going to modify the basic script login.py to log into 5 different devices and print the version information. Now depending on the devices we choose, we'll have to send the command using the send command function to either use the command show version, or if it's a MikroTik device, we'll use the command system resource print. And we will have to reference the device list CSV file to get the information of the devices we want to log into. So let's get started. So if I come here to my device login, you can see I did X out some of the information here from what the students have. But let's go ahead and take a look at this. And I can tackle it a couple of ways. Most of this stuff is going to be redundant. So I think how I want to tackle this is I want to get that get the command to send and get the version information. I want to get the software version and the hardware version and all of that stuff before I start doing this 5 times. So let's get this working right once, and then I can just kind of copy and paste and change a few values. So I've kind of got my basic structure for creating a command. I've got the structure for a prompt. So after I print the prompt, let me do the send command function. So now let's get the version, and for that I will do net connect is going to be equal to, I'm sorry, not that, I'm going to do version is going to be equal to net connect is referencing to this connection that we built based on this dictionary, and I will call the send command function now. And inside of that I have to give it a command, and since that command is going to change, I'm going to use variables for all of this. So I'm going to just create a variable called command1. Now of course I'm creating a variable, but I haven't really said what that variable is. So let me come up here at the beginning and I'll say command1 is going to be equal to, we'll use the command for a BIOS device, show version. So that's the command we're going to use, and now when I click on command 1, it does indeed say, okay, command 1 is going to be this string. So I've got that, and then the next thing I want to do is I want to print the version, so I'll do print. And then since I'm going to do this multiple times, I'm going to throw in, just print an empty string, just so I put a new line, an extra line before I do this multiple times. So I think this will work. It looks like it should work. And actually, as I highlighted, it says the variable command1 is equal to this literal show version. So that's good. So the next thing I want to do is I just need to populate the rest of this. And I'm going to do it using variables. Variables are kind of easier to work with. It'll make copying and pasting this a lot easier, but the main reason I'm going to use variables is because I want to hide everything from people who don't need this information. So what I'm going to do is I've already created a bunch of variables, and once I create that, I'm going to go ahead and populate it. Then we'll come back and we'll never see that again. So there's all the variables I need to create. I've already decided that the first device is going to be a BIOS device, so I'll go ahead and put that here under command 1 here, just to make it a little bit neater, and I don't need this. So how this is going to work is I've got 5 device types, I've got 5 port numbers, and I've got 5 commands. So now I need to create 5 devices, so I'll call this device 1. And then device 1 is going to be equal to type 1. And then the IP, we already know what the IP address is, so I'll have to fill in the IP address. That's never going to change, so I can use the same value each time. And then the port number, that's going to be equal to port 1, the variable port 1. And the username and passwords, those are never going to change, so I'll just go ahead and complete this for name. And then I will do password. And that's what I used for the variable password. And I'm getting these squiggly lines because I haven't really populated those variables yet. And then when I come down here, all I have to do is, well, now I have to change this to device 1 because device no longer exists. Command 1 exists. But stuff like this line, the only thing I have to change here is from command 1 through 5. And so let me just put another comment line here. I'm going to put a comment here if I can find the right key. And we'll call that device 1. And actually I want to take that and I want to put it right up here where I build the device. So this is the first device I'm going to do. I've got the variable type 1, port 1, name and password are never going to change, so that can be the same value. Oh, and of course I need to change this to IP, I believe. Let me go back up and make sure that's the actual variable, and it is. So the next thing I need to do is I'm going to populate device 1 through 5. I'm going to pause the recording while I do that, and then we will test it and see if it works for the first one. And if we can get it to work for the first one, then we just have to copy and paste and do this 4 more times. Okay, so I went and I looked at the device list file, and I noticed that the MikroTik devices use a different username than everyone else. So instead of creating more variables, what I chose to do was just stick to the Vios and the Extreme devices, and that way everyone uses the same username. But kind of the drawback of that maybe, or maybe it's not, it actually makes it easier, everyone uses the same command. So I did go ahead and I created a variable command, and that command is show version, and I can look at it right there, and that's still there. But we don't, we're not going to have a separate variable for each command, so that's going to make things a little bit easier for us. So if I go here and look at this device 1, the device type will be type 1, the port will be port 1, and the username will be the variable name, and password will be password. And then if I look at my connection, I'm going to connect to device 1 first. I'm going to find the prompt, I'm going to print it, and then I will get my software version, and I'll print the version, then I'll create that new line, then I'll disconnect my session. So this is trying it for one device. Let's go on here and see if it works. And if it works for the first device, I'm going to be copying and pasting a lot of stuff to do the other 4. I'm going to come on up here and I will run it, and I'll run it without debugging, and hopefully something good happens. Let's see what we get. And we did indeed get the prompt, and it printed a bunch of other stuff for us here also. Look at this. This is the command output of show version. So we got the first device to work, and we got the prompt and everything. So we got it to work for one device. Now I need to go and take, and I'm going to copy all of this. If it'll let me. There we go. And I have to do this 4 more times. So I'm going to hit Control-C to copy, and I'll put a few carriage returns here, and I'll call this device 2, and that's device 2, and it's going to use type 2 and port 2, and that needs to change to 2 also, and I believe that's all I have to do. So now I'll create and copy and paste this again. Control-C, Control-V, and this will be device 3. That's going to change to 3. I got to change that to 3. I got to change the port to 3, and my connection is going to reference device 3 now, and none of this has to change. The command is the same. I'm just going to keep overwriting these variables. It's not a big deal. Now I can copy and paste this again, and I'll put it down here, and this will be device 4. Gotta rename it. I gotta use the device type of number 4, port 4, doesn't change, and then my connection has to reference the dictionary as device 4. And the last one. Now you can do this the same way using actual literal values. I just chose to keep some of this stuff hidden, but if you wanted to do it the same way, you could just use strings, and then you would, just be copying and paste. You'd be changing each value in the dictionary. And then the last one will be device 5. 5, change that to a 5. And instead of I'm changing variables. If you wanted to actually change string literals, you could do it that same way. And then I believe I have this all done. Port 5 name, password. So now let me go and double check all of this. So I'm going to close this terminal and let's run it again. I will run this without debugging, and this is going to take a while. It's going to do all 5 devices. Hopefully it won't crash if a device doesn't get logged in, if I can't log into a device or something, but looks like I got to the first one. There's the second device. Now it's going to try to log in, and I got the third device to show up, and that's an extreme device. It prints out fourth device and the fifth device. So anyway, that's how to create multiple connections. As we go through the course, we'll find better and more efficient ways to do this. This is really an example of what not to do, but it's also an exercise in getting your hands busy doing some coding and working with this. And also remember, when you start doing this, start small, start one step at a time, and test it. Don't try to write this whole program at once, and it might not be a bad idea to do one device at a time and test it after each time. So anyway, I hope you found this video helpful, and thanks for watching.